but we'll have to wait and see. Hokori, they also went on record that Vitaly watches a ton of Dota, and not just SA Dota. He watches specifically a lot of the other regions just to learn individual teams' playstyles, and they look to try and craft their draft around that. They don't play the typical SA style. They call it freestyle Dota. So I think if there's anyone that has the potential to switch up these lanes to be able to get the better matchup specifically against LGD, Hokori are the ones that for sure have done their homework, and see if they are able to work it out for them. You gotta just back LGD though, from a supporter standpoint from the very beginning, right? Because until another team proves them wrong, they're still a top 2 team.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, like you just mentioned. Until someone proves us wrong, until someone is able to topple LGD, because we've seen it in the past, like teams that are expected to have an incredible stage, an incredible tournament, and they fall short in the first couple of days, and all of a sudden, you know, a lot of our initial expectations are going to be changed into how the team's been looking so far. So until we see that, a lot of people would still be expecting LGD to come off with a good start, but do we like Hokori's draft? Do we feel like there is some angles here for them? Do they have the right kind of 5-man to be able to topple LGD in this game 1?
I think they do, but I would feel, like I was saying before, a lot more confident if SF went mid and Kunkka went into the safe lane, and it doesn't seem like they're doing that. So based off of that fact, based off of the fact that I think this Enigma tiny lane is going to go far too well, I think LGD got this.
Okay. I do think this is an incredible Brewmaster pick from Hokori. I'm a very, very big fan. But Vitaly plays a great Brewmaster as well. Your way to be able to address the Terrorblade. Because if LGD forgets to the stage where TB is pretty much the only person with a lot of farm, then you can just cyclone him up in team fights. If you even want to look to address the Dazzle as well, because someone needs to get on top of Y, if he's freely positioned at the back of the team fights and just being able to cast, you know, Shallow Grave and then of course the Shadow Wave as well, then your fights are not going to look good. But the Brewmaster has that capability to hunt him down, cyclone him in the air, and also you can wrap on mid, which is very important. And I think that's one thing I want to see out of Hokori. If they either for them, you need to bring a third person top, use that split, and get a kill on the Terrorblade and try and put pressure on tower, or that first split of the game has to be used when you wrap mid with the Kunkka, with the boat, with the primal split, and you get a kill on nothing to say. They do have some big openings here with their ultimates on Hokori early, but they need to be able to capitalize.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Hokori have the better team fight, no doubt about it. I'm just worried with how LGD might get out of the laning stage in way too good of a spot. They are a team that do not give you the opportunity to come back. I mean, first blood onto Ame would do a lot of good if they're able to catch him out here. Still under the cover of nighttime, the smoke pops and they're going to chase him, but Ame was smoked as well, so he's going to back off. They're not going to be able to claim that first blood. Could they even look to set up on going for a counter kill? Doesn't seem like Faithbjorn and Xingqiu want any part of that at all. Faithbjorn already leveling up the Monarch version as expected. Going to be a little bit more passive on LGD. Wouldn't be surprised to even see 3-1 bounty rune trade, and even 4.
What do you make? I'll hold that thought. If they wrap all the way around on Ame top, holding the Clockwork's positioning, and yeah, exactly right. Look at the space that Hokori play with. Theological all the way around, straight on top of Ame. That was the prime target that needs the Clockwork to get on top of the Terrorblade. With him doing just that, it enables Lumiere to find first blood.
Well, at least for LGD, they get 3 bounties. So across the board, they do have a little bit more net worth on all the heroes. But of course, giving that first blood over to a Shadow Fiend does an incredible amount. You are the one hitting the towers. You are the one dealing the majority of damage in these early skirmishes. So Lumiere, who isn't a huge SF picker, to get that early net worth boost and have that extra confidence off the back of that, is going to go a long way towards Hokori's success. They just want to shove out these lanes. They want to hit early levels before LGD do. I mentioned before that key timing around level 2 for the Tiny and Enigma lane. Pierre is able to get up to it as well. That would be... Now, they're actually keeping Gardeck up top here, just for the very start, to try and get a little bit more harassed. But I'm happy that they've switched up the lanes a little bit, just to be able to have the Clockwork in front here. you went dual ranged, it would have been a disaster, and even dual melee into the Dazzle, very, very tough.
Feels like with this top lane with the... is the Winter Wyvern an easier hero to be able to get that Cinderbrew proc? Like, is there a little bit more synergy there? Is that also playing maybe a factor into the Wyvern playing up top?
Potentially a little bit. I mean, I don't think this is necessarily a lane where you need the cogs, so level 2 Rocket Flare would have done the job as well. But yeah, Wyvern can accomplish that as well. I literally think it's just to make the core's life a little bit easier.
See how those cores are able to get off to that start. As we are looking towards the level 2s, Lumiere already has his thanks to all the experience he gained prior. Going to be up to Hokori, but lane's not in the greatest spot for Hokori to look to utilize the level 2s that are coming out short-lived. Of course, there's always the beautiful thing about the Enigma, often playing with the creep wave close to your tier 1 tower.
Yeah, I mean, and this is kind of by design as well. I mentioned that they wanted to shove the lane out anyway, just to get those early spells up. So the Hokori's job is essentially to bait LGD to going on him, and if Lumiere's level 3, maybe you get the turnaround kill. Playing a little bit passively, he's taunting and maybe keeping the toss available for a potential throwback underneath the tower. Try and time it with the Eidolons looking to split, which they just do, and they've just hit level 2 as well. So this is where Hokori need to be most mindful. Don't get caught out of position. Jinkyu going for the wraparound, seeing if he can find someone. 10 or so seconds left there on the Eidolons. Doesn't feel like they're confident enough yet to go for the kill. Back there on Jinkyu, but not the worst. LGD probably couldn't have gotten that kill with the Eidolons having such low duration. So top side, we can see Gardic making a bit of a rotation through. Gonna check if there's been any sort of situation be blocked up. Mid lane, nothing to say. He's having a pretty good time against the Kunkka. I mean, yeah, you're shoving out the lane a little bit, but I think all you really want to do is trade in this lane. You're never going to get a solo kill against a Kunkka.
Yeah, Analog just got the stick delivered, so we see a lot of heroes against the Zeus like to go for the stick straight away, sometimes even wand as well, depending, but I felt like the stick wasn't required early on top lane, but Tali's gonna chase in the tree line. This LGD gonna be cautious with an early little the cold embrace, keeping Tali healthy, beautifully done. We're not ready for that point in the cold embrace. Often the Winter Wyvern going for a 1-1 build, but catching Arme off guard, so Corey with the second kill.
This is what we were talking about. They used the Olacorda bait.
So the Pog's gonna try and get some distance away. And he's already used a couple of razors and not a whole lot of damage being dealt, so LGD will be fine.
Yeah, he cleaned up 4 of the Eidolons though, right? So that's going to go so far towards just making sure again that he's having a good laning stage. Of course, you get rid of the range creeps whenever you're playing this position 3 Enigma, but if you can get multiple Eidolons in exchange, you're fairly okay with that trade. Right, top side.
Another kill, beautifully done from Hokori. The fact that Vitali's getting off to an incredible start.
We're just missing out on the cogs on the bottom side as well. They tried to go for another kill into Faith Beyond. They don't land it, but they do get 2 Eidolons killed. So that's a split pair of Eidolons right now next to Faith Beyond. I think Hokori should be feeling reasonably satisfied with how these lanes are going. They're tossing back the Olacore to try and get a kill anyway, just because of how they feel another kill should have been obtained so far, and they might be able to secure it here.
Looks like Lumiere didn't have enough mana to be able to maybe prevent them from continuing forward with the raises, so first kill of the game is going to be picked up from Psg.Lgd.
Oh, this is going to go for another kill.
Yeah, toss back, Faith Beyond. This time it's got some more Eidolons to be working with, Maleficus as well. GQ needs to get in front of the Shadow Fiend. He'll cut off to the left side here. It's going to enable an angle to block in Lumiere. Beautifully done as Psg.Lgd. So we saw some scary first couple of minutes for them, but this bottom lane getting much, much better.
Yeah, I mean, this is why this duo, even with the tiny nerfs and the Enigma nerfs, is still so formidable, right? You can't go into the lane
top lane. Vitali might end up going down. Gardic with the use of the Splinter's Blast. Hold back Psg.Lgd so they don't get that last right click to continue the poison attack.
On Olacore, it was to be expected. That's kind of what you look to go for whenever you're playing this Clockwork. He was kind of low on mana anyway, so I'm sure you're appreciating the refill bottle. He's out Xinqiu's movement here. Both of them having the boots, but Clockwork just that little bit faster. He'll be able to protect the power rune. Very important to do this against a Zeus.
Who has level 6 now as well, so we're going to see how weak Hokori are in the side lanes.
Step lively now. Your
Potential for
admiral
the
is on
newcomer
board.
far could be able to secure their third kill of the game here for Psg.Lgd. They will have a third duration left on the Metamorphosis, but it looks like with the lane completely shoved in, Tali's not in a compromised position where they can kill off the Brewmaster.
They're really looking to go for kills here. Like, I love this observable placed on the bottom side by Hokori, realizing that that's the avenue that Xinqiu is coming into this bottom side of the map. It's a little bit more south. Yeah, there's the one. Because he knows that with the Zeus hitting level 6, they're going to potentially go for a kill onto the Shadow Team. Baiting who here?
Yeah.
Still getting tossed back.
Not the neutrals to provide the extra damage as well. Theolacor, you're okay for the moment. Lumiere is going to finally step in, but what's the full duration out of the battery still? So it just looks like a lot of posturing going on down bottom at the moment, but Faith Beyond has the flags and 3 points in the Eidolons now, so the damage is really going to start to stack up. Hokori need to show some respect here. Wyatt should be killed off underneath the tier 1 tower. Looks like Guardix Vitali will finally step back in. They've got the Grave, in fact, to continue to stall this out. I think the Thunder Gods is going to be used. It's not enough for now. Vitali gets enough experience thanks to the kill onto the Dazzle, so now he's got the first spot of the game to work with.
3 deaths for Arme.
Secure the kill onto Arme. 3 deaths on the Terrorblade to start, and meanwhile, Analog mid lane used the boat as well. He's trying to chase down Nothing to Say, who might be forced to go for a deny into the neutrals. The team starting to care. Xinqiu as well has to toss this anymore. He's actually going to send him the tower instead. Oh no! Not that way, because Theolacor can step in, just close the distance onto the Zeus, and now Analog, he's going to be able to escape as well. Theolacor has the cloaks to protect the Conquer. What a beautiful sequence of events here for Hokori.
And full ahead.
And this is exactly how they needed to do it. I mentioned before, this is what's important for Hokori. They got to get out of the laning stage in a relatively good spot because their team fight is superior. So the fact that they're coming out against LGD, one of the best teams in the world, 8.5 minutes in with a very slight net worth lead, I'm super happy about that. Well, at least with Arme, he's playing a Terrorblade, one of the heroes that's best able to retreat back into the jungle and look to pick up a lot of that farm using the illusions with their high armor to be able to tank. So he just doesn't want to be in this lane anymore. The downside for LGD is that they don't really have any heroes that do want to sit in that lane. So I feel like there's a big opportunity now for Hokori to be able to take this tier 1 tower without too much contention. They just used the Thunder God's Wrath.
Radiant's bottom tower
The
is under
TB.
attack.
Quite being fight ready, I think it would be a disaster if Arme made another rotation back here and died for a 4th time. So they might just give this one up for free. At least LGD, in response, are going to look to try and take a tier 1 of their own.
Yeah, this is really important that Hokori are finding an early tier 1 tower, because I do think there is a bit of weakness in their lineup with how they can get objectives until the Shadow Fiend really has that right-click damage being showcased here to beat the tower sieger.
They'll try and keep it up for as long as they can on LGD. I wonder if they try and make a rotation down bot here. It's going to depend heavily on Theolacor. He's pinging it out. They want to make the move, but still 10 seconds left on the primal split, leaving them a little bit anxious about making this move.
Yeah, Theolacor is hoping for some extra reinforcements. No one will show up though, so Nothing to Say he's going to go snag that kill. Of course, very important for the Zeus to be able to kill still as many times as possible across the map. So he's got his first
secure,
one.
not steal.
Kill secure. Okay. Kill secure. He also needs some power runes, and unfortunately for Nothing to Say, it's going to be an arcane rune that spawns top, so he's not going his way early on to start.
Got it. Having a pretty decent time with his levels as well. Didn't buy the tome, but actually he's got it coming out to him, so he'll up onto the level 7. Not too bad for a Winter Wyvern when you're coming up against these heroes that, like the Enigma in particular, like the Terrorblade. It means that you're so hesitant to want to join a lot of these fights because Splinter Blast just rips through the illusions early on, as well as the Eidolons.
Hokori. They've got their ultimates, they've got a catapult time as well. They want to look to get kills. Wise gonna get chased down to the triangle, and everyone just splits away from Psg.Lgd. They want nothing to do with the potential skirmish. Xenolog will stop Y in his tracks. A nice kill, but you see instantly the read from Nothing to Say. As soon as everyone leaves mid, he's gonna try and move over to maybe get some of the creeps away to slow down the siege, but importantly, Radiant will glyph up the wave so they keep their catapult healthy.
Oh, that's one of those just micro decisions that might actually have changed a big part of this game. Well, we'll see if they end up securing the tier 1 tower anyway, and it won't be too bad if they do. But Gardic taking the tome when he was already having a mid creep wave to farm, when he was almost level 6, and not giving it over to Theolacor, potentially means that you don't get that kill onto the Zeus, and he's able to continuously farm. They still lose the tier 1 tower, so it's not horrible for Hokori, but could have been even better.
One scary thing at the moment is how farm Faith Beyond is. Wraith Pact already completed before the 12-minute mark. Of course, he did rush it, but this Enigma is going to be a very difficult person to deal with. Yes, you've got answers to the BKB Black Hole as the game goes on, but that's not the only thing about the hero anymore.
Middle tower is under attack.
No, definitely not. There's just so many different avenues for you to go for. And like I mentioned, both supports effectively counter the BKB. So even though it's being played as a position 3, I feel like it's going to be that old POS 5 style where you just don't get the Blink Dagger until it's super late. And it might result in a couple of heroes just waiting for something that never happens.
Psg.Lgd looking to make their play. Great position from Gardic. Beautifully done.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Now he's actually going to go in. Theolacor with the hook shot. Jinky will instantly toss him away. We're able to deal with the cogs as well. Looks like the follow-up won't be there from Hokori. As Gardic unable to close the distance and use that second ultimate in the curse to try and stop the retreat.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
One thing as well, though, about picking these supports to diminish Enigma's teamfight's involvement is that I already mentioned Hokori has such stronger teamfight, but if you're taking Black Hole out of the mix as well, like it's really, really heavily in their favor. So looking to see when Hokori want to take their team fights. They're going to go for another smoke here on Analog. What's the Theolacor? 15 seconds left on the shot.
Okay, Split's gonna come out. Faith Beyond was attempting to try and step in with the threat of the Black Hole. They're gonna turn to deal with Arme. Someone needs to address the Dazzle though. We'll be able to utilize the Grief to protect Arme for the moment, so the Sunder's gonna give him bonus health to play with now on the Terror Blade of Vitali. Need to try and get some distance away, but the Primal Split soon to expire. They'll use the Thunder God's Wrath as well, just to scout him out in the tree line, so Psg.Lgd. The first big skirmish victory for them as all 4 heroes show up.
Yeah, that's completely different if they just have the Cyclone up onto the Dazzle, right? We've seen that Wise positioning as well as Siamese Cat for Team Asta. It's super solid that you just got to make sure that you put the most emphasis onto taking that one out. I know it's only a support.
Theolacor hooks on onto Nothing to Say. Oh, he's unable to get out as well. Theolacor, beautiful jump in, and Lumi just walks up a couple of right clicks and snags the kill onto Nothing to Say.
Instead of going Roche here off the back of that. Hi, they've got a decent amount of damage. They've picked up a kill. They know that the meta's used. They know that there's no Thunder God's Wrath. To be able to secure this one. Underneath an Observer Ward right now as the Theolacor looks to get rid of it. I feel like LGD feel comfortable enough to take this team fight. Again, they've got weaker team fight to begin with. They don't have anything that's going to be giving vision outside of the Eidolons, so they just want to keep the lanes pushed out a little bit more in their favor, split up the map as much as possible, and give up this first key objective.
And it seems like for Hokori, they're probably going to look to farm for maybe another 2.5 minutes, potentially 3, get that BKB on Lumiere. Analog's very close to his own BKB, and you almost have the Wraith Pack from Vitali as well. So if you get these items and take a successful team fight, all of a sudden that's a T2 tower, the entire top half of the map controlled from Radiant, and they could even get more as well. So this is big signs here for Hokori. They could get a lot out of these ages.
They could, but if they're a little bit too passive, Xingqiu, he's only about 600 gold away from his own big item in that BKB. All throughout that time that they were taking Roche, he was just keeping this bottom lane shove, taking the jungle, something that you don't really see a position 4 Tiny do, go all the way back into the jungle, but Q realizes how important he is to LGD's chances this game. They can't take the full 5-on-5 team fights. It's all about finding that key pick-off to be able to begin with.
looks like for them, they're looking to try and play down and south here. They do have a very nice wall in the jungle. Of course, the potential for them to be able to push is through the roof as well. So they're just making sure they put themselves in a position where if Hokori all show top, they can try and trade. As you say, quick figures for the wall sector and a whole analog back, but you didn't know that Hokori was in the neighborhood as well. So another hook shot on the mark here for the Clockwork, catching out Nothing to Say, who's having a really difficult time at entering this game one.
He is, but it is space being given over to Xingqiu as well. Like, with that, they were able to get a pick off onto the Winter Wyvern. You know, most of the time you would think mid laner for Pos 5, not worth it, but if it means Tiny gets that early Blink Dagger, well worth it. And even just the way that Xingqiu's been farming as well. He's just been throwing out the toss only, not avalanche toss, making sure he's always got mana for the potential gank that's set to come from Hokori, because they realize how close they are to this timing. Now though, he's got the Blink Dagger, he's got a smoke queued up and not even TPing right onto the tower, making sure to go as far away, try and get a jump onto the back line. If they can take out the Wyvern, it opens up so much.
Faith Beyond, that's an aggressive team. It's straight into the middle. Xingqiu with the toss back, a lot of damage onto the Conqueror at the moment, but Analog is able to block the BKB. Now Theoloco once again is able to jump into the middle of the fight. The Yours will be able to counter at the Requiem, but Lumi here with the right click damage is starting to rack up. They need to avoid Armane. That's where the Cyclones are going to come into play. But can they address the rest of Psg.Lgd now? They'll turn to deal with the Wraith back, and as soon as that killed off, it looks like Psg.Lgd have concerns with their positioning, so they're going to look to back up, cutting their losses in 2 members, but Faith Beyond, he might have an angle for the black hole. He's trying to find an opening to enter the fight, but the cloaks will block him from finding that opening as Hokori bring down 3 members, and they lose no one.
They lose no one, they retain the Ages, you get rid of the Terrorblades Manta style as well that was on the Courier, just the recipe, but still such a big impact, and with that gold they get the BKB, they continue this push on forward. Super impressed with how Hokori are taking a lot of these team fights. I mean, they just weren't quite ready on LGD. It was a good timing and it was a reasonable use of the toss there, but no damage was there to follow up, and they know there's no meta.
We're just seeing at the moment some of the difficulties with the positioning on Psg.Lgd. You got a Conquer running here, you got a Primal Split, a Clockwork in the middle. Theoloco has been great with the hook shots, and that Cyclone, it was just kind of the difference that we saw in this team fight, what we didn't see at the team fight down to the bottom tier 1 tower.
Where Hokori have done their homework against LGD, just realizing the way to beat them. They like to be a little bit greedier, they like to split up and farm, they like to go a little bit too much into the laning phase, that if you crush them there, then you can overwhelm them in teamfight. It was the issue that they had back at TI-10 with the IO pick, provides you nothing in terms of teamfight, and Hokori looking to exploit this draft as well.
Smoke up from Hokori was underneath an observer ward from Psg.Lgd, so they will know what's occurring across the map. Nothing to Say is going to be able to get back to the T2 tower. They will continue to wrap to the triangle. Keep going down bottom. They might run into Y. Biggest kill. Take it though.
Here is hitting very hard right now on this SF, and they should be able to just secure this tier 1 tower for free as well. Again, their best job on Faith Beyond as well as Xingqiu to be able to push it out. Do they land the turret here?
Nice.
Yes, they do.
Beautifully done. Analog with the vision. Forced to use the bow just for the extra damage. Xingqiu will be able to get out of range, so we'll make him work for the kill. It'll take quite some time. And even, Curse even used as well, so Xingqiu has to be really happy, because you take a look at the space that's being created across the map. Top's getting completely shoved out, mid lane's getting pushed out, you're getting farm in the jungle as well, so this is a lot of space created here thanks to the Tiny.
It is indeed, and it is real teamwork coming through here from LGD, giving up your own life for the benefit of the rest of the team. Honestly, I feel like Xingqiu almost prefers that death as opposed to getting away from the engagement, just because it causes them to stick around for another 30 seconds. Now you don't have to worry about the curse. Now you don't have to worry about the boat for a little bit. I wonder if LGD might even look to go for a gank attempt now, or if they're just going to, again, lean back on the fact that, alright, they're not going to kill us if they don't have the curse, if they don't have the boat, they're not going to feel super confident, especially considering the Aegis is expired. But wanted to go, if they wanted to try for a black hole attempt, now's the time.
Analog, can he get the Courier? He does again. Oh, the Courier snipe going down. They also have a ward on the high ground, so they see Faith Beyond. Shinkyu's gonna try and toss 2 heroes into the cards. It's Faith.Lgd with no hesitation, but the battery sword instantly cancels the black hole, and now he might not be able to escape. Hokori, they've already used their stun, so they will not be able to catch up, but the first black hole of the game will net them no value.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Tried to, I want to say they tried to go for another play. This is just Hokori playing really effectively around their vision, especially considering the fact that you've got some of these instant jumps onto the back line that be enabled even further once guarded.
Tyler mid lane might be in trouble.
Radiant's top tower is falling.
Only nothing to say, blows him up with the help of Shin-Q, and now Arme's even going to TP in. Guarding the tree line, and another kill going the way of Psg.Lgd. Beautifully done from them. They're going to be able to defend their tier 2 tower, and now look to get the rest of the map pushed out.
Very, very good split there from LGD, making sure not to clump up because, say, nearly died for a 5th time as the target of the curse, but just making sure to create that space away from the rest of the team. They're putting a lot of emphasis onto protecting this ancient camp area, right? Because you've got a Shadow Fiend, you've got a Kunkka, who is super capable of being able to take it, and Arme's game to be able to carry. We mentioned before how the Enigma was counted throughout the draft, and only the Terrorblade's goal to be able to be that tanky frontline presence. So he's able to keep up the farm and that frontline tower sieger. The rest of the team isn't really enabled. The pickoffs can't happen from Shin-Q.
Yeah, I have some big concerns with the late game. I know you're saying that probably Hokori have an advantage in the team fight, but I feel like Armin might just be able to solo carry this game. I think the Terrorblade matches up very well versus the Shadow Fiend. You've got a armor advantage, which is a big thing considering the Shadow Fiend is all right-click damage. It's going Skadi next item as well on Arme, which is going to prove to be a big issue for a ranged right-clicking hero. I think one advantage that we see for Lumiere is that he's going Daedalus, which is pretty much the item you need against heroes that have a crapload of armor to be able to pump that damage in. So yeah, there's going to be a slight window here potentially when this Daedalus is completed, but I am worried about late game. I think it really comes down to how Vitali is able to play on the Brewmaster.
I mean, it's so much, right? I think in a 1v1 matchup against the Terrorblade, you can feel reasonably confident on Lumiere, but it's just all about clearing out those illusions, making sure that there's not the Dazzle save, and allowing a true 1v1 Shadow Fiend v Terrorblade lineup to... Wait, is that another smoke call out?
Yeah, another smoke comes to meet the Observe Ward. Shin-Q is going to look to try and do sacrifice his life. So they won't probably reveal the Observe Ward placement. I'm going to say if you popped the smoke from the tree line and blinked away, then it would have been very obvious a ward was nearby, but it was the case just to sacrifice his life instead and not show the ward.
Even why pushing out this bottom lane, just wanting to say, look, just stay away from my cause. They still need time to farm. They're still in the oven.
Is under attack.
Tanking right now.
Well, that's big because if what? Oh, he's going 8 villains actually. So we had a 4-star Huda, which I was going to say I think for Psg.Lgd really important for their members to get some repositioning because this clockwork has really been a big issue for them. But 8 villains will definitely help out in that regard with where Y can be on the map.
Yep. Or next on the Hokori. I see a Void Stone being picked up, but anything else coming out to it? I think he just wants the mana regen. I wouldn't hate to see something like an Aghanim Scepter come out from in this game. I know, you just think I'm a little bit of a fanboy of the clock act, but it serves a big purpose this game. When you see that he's going for that Aether Lens on the Dazzle, it means that the Aether Lens, it means that you're going to need vision, right? And it provides a lot more of that with the amount of rocket flares that you're able to spam out, so that Dazzle is the main target.
Second rush going the way of Hokori. Aghanim Shard and the Ages given over to Lumiere on the Shadow Fiend. Psg.Lgd, they were right on the scam, but they're a little bit too late to group up and smoke. They're going to continue to try and find a team fight here. But Hokori, they're looking to address this bottom side of the map, but the objectives are soon to be claimed.
Well, you don't have the BKB, not even close to it on Faith.Lgd as well. So now you've got another stun, but it's like a fear on the Shadow Fiend with that Aghanim Shard that he was able to pick up from the second row to be able to interrupt, even just enabling much more of that one-on-one man fight against the Terrorblade as well.
Look at Psg.Lgd's positioning with the triangle. Great read though from Hokori. Scans in the mark so they know where they are. This is a power position if you're looking to try and control this bottom side of the map. It really enables you to take the T2 tower.
That's where clockwork comes in handy. You just get all of that vision for free. Up onto the high ground. Have to be a little bit careful about going too far forward. You are still against a tiny LGD. He's just looking for that key pickoff, but they're happy enough to leave Lumiere on.
They're going to run up, actually. Toss into the middle. Look at the damage under the first line. Lumiere's going to get blown up. The Hokori's going to look to try and jump it as well into Arme, but they're unable to lock on top of the turret blade for the moment. Able to step up to the left side, but Psg.Lgd, what a successful start to the team fight. They get so much out of it, and let's see if they can catch up to more as Xinkyu jumps in onto Analog. He can BKB and TP out, but that is a great skirmish from Psg.Lgd. They completely nullify the second Roche advantage.
Yep, no more Roche advantage, no Primal Split to have to deal with, no Requiem, BKB being used for the first time on the Shadow Fiend. Big victory coming out, and wouldn't you know it, all on the back of Xinkyu. The man's done it again, keeping his team in the game. Still a little bit behind on the net worth, but that's going to give them so much confidence in being able to farm up that next item. Close to that BKB on the Terrorblade and the Enigma enable you to more confidently fight against this Enigma, against this Shadow Fiend.
Well, that's another pretty big item.
Oh yeah, and they're even just going for the burst as well, and nothing to say. I mean, he's level 15, he's got the E-Blade finished up as well. So very clear that him as well as Xinkyu are going to be playing together. So much burst magic damage coming through from the man.
Let's see how the Power's micro is going to be with this new Scepter. Got this Wind Panda trying to scout out anyone in the jungle. Oh, they run into nothing to say, in fact. They need an angle for the hook shot, and Theo just clip him even after the jump away. Beautifully done from Hokori. Quick movement from them, catching nothing to say off guard. Any more mid lane? Oh, it was just the X concoct. It's okay.
Go for more. I mean, again, permanently keeping this Wind Panda available means that you just look to find the Dazzle. As soon as you do, you feel very confident in taking the team fight. Look how scared they are of the Wind Panda. They all just run away from a single unit that he's just able to resummon in a couple of seconds.
Yeah, might force Psg.Lgd now to put a little bit more observer-centric combos in choke points around the stairs where this Wind Panda can look to chase him down. Because we saw exactly what happened when the Scepter was completed. Like, Hokori just instantly run to the jungle with the Wind Panda at the Vanguard, so
man,
it'll be very interesting.
On point though, dude. Like, instantly you say that, they buy the gem, and they're just like, alright, you want to get sentries and observer wards up to make sure that our Wind Panda isn't an issue? We're just going to de-ward your entire map. Just great response coming through from Hokori. They've done their homework. I'm super impressed with their gameplay so far.
And I think that's a big thing because you're going up against a Zeus lineup. Like, this is a person who just gives you that unfair advantage in a way where you can always de-ward on the map. And again, we've spoken about the importance of dealing with the Terrorblade, but you also need to deal with Dazzle. And if you do not see where Y is positioning, then there's no way you're going to be able to bring him down. So this gem is going to give you that capability.
And this is what I really wanted from Lumiere as well, that Blink Dagger, enabling him to get in onto the backlines and immediately burst down whatever target it is that they find. I mentioned LGD, they're very burst-oriented as well, with the Avatos, with the E-Blade, with those first few right-clicks, but now that you've got the Blink Dagger, it means that a hook shot can lead to so much more.
See what they can get out of this, though, from Psg.Lgd. Really the first time they've smoked and aggressively looked to try and take a team fight into Hokori's territory. We'll get some vision set up. Smoke's gonna pop shortly. Radiant have a ward in the jungle. Wide's gonna show now on the outpost as well, so they will be able to sniff it out. They also know that a ward is on the cliff with the path of that rocket flare, so Hokori, a lot of information to work with, and they're gonna smoke themselves.
Will they will. They're banking on Faith Beyond. Last tournament. Put in a lot of work. Went into this one safe.
Angle.
Coming in.
Got the Blink
It's a great
Dagger.
angle. They're going to know where they are, though, with the rocket flare path. I'll make the first one. They'll see him for the moment with the vision. They're going to try and position to the left side. And once this outpost for the potential to buybacks, but Xinkyu that group up. A double avalanche. They're not going to be able to have default damage. Arme to the middle, but the instant use of the Cyclone. Unable to continue to right-click heroes for the moment, so Hokori will continue to kite Arme and go to the left side instead. As they blow up Faith Beyond. No enigma for the team fight. Let's see how they can still take this. Arme once again cycloned in the air. The ultimates are going to expire from Batar. There's a clockwork just runs into the middle straight to Army. The rain boss with the Terrorblade standing his ground off the back of the BKB. A Winter's Curse will buy them some time, but it's not the full duration to Army. He can get back to work. He can continue to right-click down the Hokori members as Analog will fall. They even brought back on Theo, but he was unable to re-enter the team fight. So in the end, Psg.Lgd come out on top, and they're considering about walking up high ground.
Yeah, absolutely. They don't have to contend against that primal split anymore. Still another 15 seconds until he's even got the final companion as well. And well, for now, he's sticked himself on the bloodlines, but we don't even
Jump in,
know.
Shinkyu. It's back onto Lumiere. It's put Shinkyu in a very awkward position. Theo as well is trying to make space for the heroes to the right side to enable that kill, but no one's going to go down.
It's going to go down, but I don't think LGD are going to take anything either. They end up getting the glyph out of the... It's what they wanted, that team fight. I mean, again, the power of information coming in clutch for LGD. Mid-fight, Y drops an Observer Ward onto the high ground when LGD have the power position there to be able to make the plays on it. And, you know, even though they saw that Hokori had that same vision, they don't really care. As long as they know that they've got the safety, they've got the information to get that Avatos combination with the Blink on, find the burst damage potential, they're super confident.
I am still very concerned on how they can address Arme, because we saw the start of the fight, they cycloned him twice and they still didn't win it. As soon as the primal split expired, Arme just, he took over the fight. And I don't know if Brewmaster can go refresher. Like, this is... I think he's going to be forced to in a game like this, but it feels like this kind of Scepter refresher build is heavily nerfed on offlaners.
I really feel like the way that Hokori are going to be able to win this game, in terms of how they're taking their team fights, is just ignoring Arme for as much as possible. And make him use the BKB, but you've got the tools to be able to run away once he pops it, right? You've got your own BKB on the Shadow Feed, you've got the Hurricane Pike, you've got a Clockwork who's tanky enough with Hookshot and Cogs, you've got a Kunkka, very tanky, you can split on the Brewmaster, and you can Cold Embrace and Curse once he pops the BKB on Arme. So the big priorities for them are actually taking out literally anyone else except for Arme.
The main damage dealer in Lumiere is getting up those levels, up to 20 now, so mentioning how they need to try and take care of some of the stabilizing forces on Psg.Lgd, the ones that can really enable Armin. With all the damage that Lumiere has, he can definitely do that.
I mean, this fight, it's a really quick roach respawn. They're going to get information about it through the rocket flare. They need to kill Shinkyu. They know 100% that he's not going to have buyback if he dies this fight, so even though LGD have that outpost control, it's going to mean a 5v4. And it's going to mean they can't get those quick pickoffs that they've been basing these past few successful fights on.
So if they're going to smoke on Psg.Lgd, they've got a double damage rune. Daedalus freshly completed. It feels like God, it has to be the X factor in this fight now. If you can catch up the Terrorblade.
So look at where they're pinging. They want to go the full wraparound great positioning for Vitali.
Instant use of the Thunder Gods as well. Scouts out the Primal. The jump in from Theo. It might give him enough time to get the Primal split off, but Arme just turns and starts to right click the members down. Bye-bye went to live, and he's going to buy back to look to rejoin. But how do they address Arme at the moment? Lumi's getting charging up directly to the grave from Y. Might give him a time for the side of the Primal as well. Arme's alive, and now they can turn it around. The right clicks are going to work. Lumiere will fall, and the rest of Hokori will join him in the grave as Psg.Lgd. They were seconds away from losing the team fight, seconds away from Arme being blown up, but they kept him alive long enough. And that will enable them to take the skirmish.
Oh, the black hole coming through as well onto the perfect target, just giving him enough time to be able to get that Sunder through. It was a great Winter's Curse as well, but the Sunder'd got knocked. He was survivable, and it's just a little bit too much focus onto Arme for me. Hokori played that essentially as perfectly as they could, but if the target priority isn't quite there, then we'll see what happens. LGD with enough openings, even getting the dieback out of Garnic on his Wyvern.
For the first time, Psg.Lgd being able to find all the components of the Roshan. That's a Scepter now on Arme as well that you have to worry about.
Very helpful. I mean, we saw there Vitali was able to get off the primal split, but until he's able to pick up that Aeon disc that he's going for, Terrorize. Yeah.
Tearaway.
Tearaway, there we go. Is able to counter that one out. You know, just that little bit of extra stun duration.
Holy. What a wild team fight to put Psg.Lgd in a commanding position now. Just a lot of the net worth lead is coming off the back of that Aghanim's Blessing on Arme. But this is one big advantage that you do have with the Brewmaster. You are an incredible hero to be able to address the enemy team if they have a lot of net worth on just one individual hero.
Take them out of the fight. I think that's probably the way that Hokori are wanting to take these next few, right? If you can get up to level 18 on the Brewmaster, that's going to be even better.
Nothing to say.
Off here, have to be careful.
Ooh.
Just playing around the fog effectively enough, not able to get that X marks off. It's nighttime. That was daytime. They get that kill. Nothing to say there, but yeah, like you mentioned, I think they want level 18, and then I think they just want to go, they want to Tornado up the Terrorblade and then look to engage onto the backlines, because realistically, there's nothing stopping them from doing that if TB isn't just right-clicking him with his insane network.
Smoke instantly pops.
Radiant's
Punching
bottom
Q.
tower
Gonna
is
find the
under
back
attack.
Pushing forward, yeah, they might wrap around. Faith Beyond's probably the first person they'll run into. It looks like they're pinging out though thanks to the scan. It's all the way to the right, they've got nothing to say. Aeon's is going to be popped at the moment, but it looks like there's nothing they can do. The Zeus hit dying. No way, no way, no way he lives. How does nothing to say make it out? Because look at the base. Full set of barracks claim now towards the T2 tower. What? Oh, he lived.
Oh, they just got a little bit of tunnel vision. Again, the nighttime. I don't think they saw Q there on the low ground. Otherwise, they would have absolutely made that jump. And I don't think they even glyphed either. They were just so focused on, let's kill something. Let's get rid of a lot of their vision. And
Has fallen.
no, you would hate for that to be their undoing, but I mean, this is where LGD look to punish you, right? Their individual plays, their understanding of vision around the map, and punished Hokori very effectively.
This is a slight window with the metamorphosis on cooldown as the core finds the opening onto Faith Beyond once again, but the BKB is still yet to be completed. So they'll get a big kill onto the Enigma. Let's see if they can catch up to Shinkyu as well. The Blink coming up shortly. The Guardian and Lumiere able to get the damage off to be able to prevent that. So Corey
Gem as well.
will at least get 2 kills and the gem.
Nice little bonus there. Do they see it?
Maybe.
Oh, Faith Beyond sees it. Seems like Hokori do as well. It's nighttime, man. I'm telling you, it decides a lot of games.
DD. They could do some damage to the buildings here.
Keep the lane shoved in, but not too many better heroes at doing that than Shadow Fiend and the Conquer. See, nothing to say. Going down to the bottom side of the map, but I think they can't get too distracted. They need to address what makes their draft good. That's just being able to find these pickoffs and quickly take out these tier 3 towers that they've got remaining for LGD. Not using the X-Mark TP back to be able to deal with this bottom lane means that their movement is super obvious though. So LGD just read that completely, TP back to the safety of their base, and they're still going to have a 5v5, 6v5 effectively, with that Aegis still up for another minute. Healthy spot as well.
Like it's always going to be difficult here for Hokori though, from them to now be the first one to start the fights. They need a way to address bottom. See if Analog is going to be able to kind of fulfill that role, but Psg.Lgd going to look to smoke themselves, wanting to control Radiant's triangle and get their first and set up vision. It's going to be very difficult for Hokori now to take a fight there.
They're using nothing to say his fate. He's got many avenues to be able to escape. Blink Dagger, E-Blade, Yule Scepter, Aeon Disc, the jump as well, so trying to bait him a little bit here. Not out anyone.
Army on the charge. I got the vision. Army is just going to charge up the high ground. Target's guarded down first. A Cold Brace will keep him alive enough that he instantly blows him up. Able to toss back as well onto Vitali. There'll be no split to protect the Brewmaster. And now they're on to more as Faith Beyond might be able to run into Analog in the tree line. And that's TPR. And Lumiere also will escape.
Even just atmosphere on Faith Beyond means that he feels so much more confident in some of these team fights. Obviously, the main thing that he's buying that for is the Winter's Curse, but even just something like the X-Mark not able to catch him, the Primal Companion being able to toss him up with the Cyclone, not an issue anymore. And with the third duration left on that Metamorphosis, they're once again going high ground. Time at least, Hokori going to be able to respond to it with the Glyph, but get back to base.
Totally up in 15. It's like Psg.Lgd not going to stick around for a skirmish though. Analog and Co. Well, they'll lose is just a tier 3 tower. What can Hokori do to bring themselves back into this game? What does an ideal team fight look for them?
Oh, they've got decent ways to shove out lanes, I gotta say. You know, you just gotta make sure that you quickly look to burst it down. Your vision's fairly decent, so you're gonna make sure that you're not getting caught out. You've got Rocket Flare that's consistently used to do the same sort of job. And then it's just about finding that initial pickoff. Don't go onto Ame. I sound like a broken record, but the last few times that they've tried it, he hasn't died a single time since the laning stage.
It's a very interesting read from Lumiere. He's gone Refresher Orb here for the Shadow Fiend, so what BKB, I believe, is really the main thing he's looking for.
You would have to imagine. Like, since the change, it's such an ineffective item at holding on to, especially if you're this position 1 core, right? Gives you no stats, just a little bit of health regeneration. So it's like they feel the need to try and not end the game now, but be able to make that big impact now while he doesn't need that next key item. I mean, he has an item slot available, I suppose, with the Power Treads able to be sold because he's playing with the Swift Link, but I feel like they're banking on another successful engagement in the next few minutes. Cheeky.
Just taking the outpost and just jetpacking away, so interesting plays from them. We do have a double damager in down bottom as well, so I mean you're already far enough ahead. They've got a DD on Ame as well to play with.
And the bottom lane pushing in.
If you can dispel it, but guarded again, the person that's going to be caught out. They need the Winter Wyvern in this team fight. The save along with the curse to potentially deal with Ame is vital for them, but they will not have him.
This is the threat.
Now Ame, he's just going to jump into the T4 tower. A couple of crits. Oh my, Ame just cleans up Analog. Shinkyu's going to fall up as well, grouping them all together. Faith Beyond's waiting for the opening. Taro won't be able to play with the split, but Ame protected with the BKB for the moment, so he's able to reposition. Radiant's under Dazzle though. Fire's going to be caught out for the moment. Finding a little bit of space, going to be nothing to say. Once again, the Costa forced them to group up. As they're in with the black hole, it'll be stopped in its tracks. A lot of damage thanks to the Winter's Curse, but they've lost him here. They've lost the main damage source, and the rest of the components are going to crumble as soon as the Shadow Fiend gets buried 6 feet under. This Psg.Lgd can now look to close out this game 1. And yep, they've done it. GG's are called, and Psg.Lgd, they will start off their TI-11 run with a victory.
He's sweating a little bit though. Hokori made him work for it. I mean, they had the win probability until about the 30 or so minute mark of that game. On the ropes for quite some time, but just takes a single team